Hello and welcome to the Michigan Merit Exam Test Administration MSTEP webinar. This presentation was prepared by Kristen Strasbaugh, MSTEP Test Administration and Reporting Consultant, on behalf of the Office of Educational Assessment and Accountability. This presentation will discuss MSTEP Test Administration policies and tasks for grades 8 and 11. This presentation will cover what's new for the spring 2026 administration, important resources to help you prepare, the systems used in the MSTEP administration, testing schedules, preparing for administration, tasks that need to be done during the test administration, common problems and what to do, and after testing tasks. We will begin with what is new for MSTEP administration in 2026. Then, I will share the resources that are available to you throughout the test administration. Next, there are several systems that are used in administering the MSTEP. These systems will be discussed so that you are aware of what tasks need to be done and which system to use. After that, I will share the MSTEP testing schedule and discuss the requirements of the MSTEP test schedule that each school and district must prepare. At the end of the Before Test Administration chapter, I will discuss how to prepare both students and staff for the MSTEP. Resources to use with students will be shared, as well as the trainings and resources that your staff will need. First, we're going to review what's new in MSTEP test administration. Beginning with the fall 2025 testing cycle, the DRC Insight application has been updated to enhance both functionality and user experience. When students log in and select their test, this new logo will appear. To view updates, log into the DRC Insight portal, go to View Documents and Training Materials, and to Downloads. As part of the ongoing improvements to the DRC Insight system, the login page used to select an assessment has been redesigned for the 2025-26 academic year. This image shows the updated view. Users will select MSTEP to log into the MSTEP assessment. The Online Tools Training (OTT) link has also been updated. The new access link is https://portal.te.drcedirect.com/mi. Make sure you update any bookmarks with the updated link. The interface has also been refreshed. The selection and login screens now feature an updated design to improve usability. Students must continue to use the Chrome browser to access the Online Tools Training. To view the MSTEP Online Tools Training, click on the MSTEP icon. To access the Online Tools Training, students must click through several screens. They must select Online Tools Training, Sample Item Sets, choose the grade level they wish to view, and then select the subject. Sample questions are available for grades 3, 4, 6, and 7 Math and ELA, Grade 5 Math, ELA, Science and Social Studies, and Grade 8 and 11 Science and Social Studies. The MSTEP Social Studies Online Tools Training content has been updated so that all items are aligned with the current Michigan K-12 standards for social studies. Some items have been replaced, others updated, and a few have been added. An annotated answer key for this resource can be found on the MSTEP page under the Content-Specific Information section. Starting this year, the stacked Spanish Math and Social Studies is now Spanish Text-to-Speech. More information about this change can be found in the MSTEP Supports and Accommodations Updates PowerPoint. In addition, the follow-along feature will now be available on these forms when using TTS. This enhancement allows students to read highlighted text on screen as it's read aloud, supporting better comprehension and engagement. Another new enhancement to the DRC Insight platform allows text-to-speech, TTS, to be activated by simply hovering over certain elements within test forms. Specifically, this applies to Select to Enlarge and Select to Respond items. When students move their cursor over these areas, the TTS will automatically begin reading the content aloud, no additional clicks required. Click to Enlarge and Click to Respond are now referred to as Select to Enlarge and Select to Respond. While the functionality remains the same, it's helpful to use the updated terms when guiding students or referencing these features in training and documentation, since some students are taking the test online while others are using paper and pencil forms. The Educational Entity Master, or EEM, contacts have also been updated. Schools and districts must review and update the contact information in the Educational Entity Master for all administration/contacts listed. Go to https://sepi.state.mi.us/EEM to update your school or district's contacts. Each district has at least one authorized EEM user who can make updates. Accurate contact details ensure the timely delivery of test materials and important assessment communications for all statewide assessment programs. Beginning this year, Do Not Score (DNS) labels will no longer be used. These labels will not be included in your materials shipment. If you have an answer document that should not be scored, for example, due to a testing irregularity or student withdrawal, it should be securely destroyed at the testing site. These documents should not be returned to DRC. The barcode label on student answer documents has been updated. The label is located on the bottom left-hand side of the student answer document and reads, "Attention, apply student barcode label here." A valid barcode label is required in this area to ensure the test is scored. It is expected that labels are placed on top of the barcode that is visible in the box. The label should cover the barcode on the answer document. There are a number of activities that need to take place before M-STEP administration. This first chapter will discuss everything that needs to be done before testing begins. In this section, I will discuss some important resources that are available to you as you administer the M-STEP. First is Assessment Coordinator Training Guide. This guide provides information that takes assessment coordinators through the tasks and responsibilities done before, during, and after the administration of all of Michigan's statewide summative assessments. This will help you with M-STEP, but also all the other Michigan statewide assessments as well. If you are a new assessment coordinator, it is suggested that you progress through the entire training guide in the order presented. For returning assessment coordinators, this guide can be used as a refresher. You could use sections of this guide as you approach each task, or if you run into difficulty with any assessment administration task, you can use this document as a reference material. While this training guide provides training for each task that must be done, it is not intended to replace the testing manuals, guides, and other test administration-related resources that are provided. You can find this guide through the link at the top of all assessment pages. The Assessment Coordinator Training Guide web page also includes a link to bookmarks that you can download and save to your web browser, for easy links to many assessment-related websites. Other important resources for you to review as you prepare for the Spring 2026 test administration are the Guide to State Assessments and the Assessment Integrity Guide. The Guide to State Assessments includes detailed information about state assessments and is important to review. The Assessment Integrity Guide provides information on the prevention and detection of testing irregularities and guidance for follow-up and resolution of any identified testing irregularity, to ensure all procedures before, during, and after the test administration lead to student results that accurately reflect a valid and reliable measure of each student's unique and true educational knowledge, skills, and abilities. You can find these documents, plus assessment security training by going to the M-STEP webpage. The M-STEP Test Administration Manual will be available in late January and includes detailed guidelines for before, during, and after the M-STEP test administration. The Test Administration Manual provides information about the test administration policies and procedures, as well as step-by-step information for each assessment task that needs to be done before, during, and after testing. Checklists are also provided in an appendix, with links to each task, to help you keep track of everything that needs to be done. You will also find test administration policies, including the scratch paper policy, calculator policy, and electronic device policy, information about supports and accommodations available for the M-STEP assessment, and the incident reporting table that includes potential test irregularities and their resolution for both paper/pencil and online test administrations. The important dates for M-STEP Spring 2026 administration are available on the M-STEP webpage at www.michigan.gov/mstep. Select the Important Dates tile at the top of the page, then select the Important Dates documents according to your need and preferences. There is an Excel spreadsheet that includes the important dates for every statewide assessment administered by MDE. This way, users can filter the dates according to the assessments and assessment windows they will administer. For example, an assessment coordinator who is responsible for all middle and high school testing could filter on M-STEP, PSAT 8/9 for grade 8, PSAT 8/9 for grade 9, PSAT 10, SAT, and WIN. Instructions for how to filter the Excel spreadsheet are included on the second tab, which is highlighted in red. In addition to this spreadsheet, a Google Calendar is also available that includes important dates by assessment program. You can download the calendar and add it to your Google Calendar to display the important dates for each assessment program you are responsible for. Test administrators are not required to read the Test Administration Manual. Instead, all test administration information and policies that test administrators need to know to administer the M-STEP are included in this one document. Only the paper/pencil test administrators' directions and manual documents are grade-specific. There is only one online test administrator's directions and manual document for all grades. This is because the screens read aloud by test administrators before TTS for directions are the same across grades and content areas. It is required that test administrators read this document prior to administering the test. Assessment security training is required. District and building assessment coordinators are required to complete the Michigan Virtual Assessment Security modules and to read the Assessment Integrity Guide. Test administrators must either complete the Michigan Virtual Assessment Security modules or read the Assessment Security Appendix. For coordinators or administrators who have already completed the full Assessment Security modules, a refresher course is available in lieu of repeating the full course. The link to the Assessment Security Training modules is available on the MSTEP webpage, www.michigan.gov/mstep, under the Assessment Training and Resources for Educators section. Off-site testing is for schools who cannot test on-site at their school buildings. Off-site testing is used for virtual schools, schools that offer virtual instruction as their educational program. Off-site testing also occurs for individual students. When a school is providing educational services to a homebound student, students are suspended during the testing window, or students are expelled with service. The off-site test administration request is found under the Assessment Registration tab in the OEAA Secure site. Select Off-site Test Administration Request. The window to submit off-site test administration requests is open January 5 through May 14, 2026. The OEAA has developed an electronic device policy for testing, which is available in the Assessment Integrity Guide and will be included in the MSTEP Test Administration Manual. Students are not permitted to access any non-testing electronic device during testing. All student electronic devices must be powered off and stored away from the student work area during testing. For students testing online, students cannot access the testing device for any purpose other than testing during the test session. This includes after a student has submitted a test, they must not use the testing device for any purpose while the test session is occurring. Staff must remain focused on the test administration during the entire test session. Cell phones should not be used or accessed unless there is an emergency that requires its use. Wearable technology is discouraged, but if worn it must be set to airplane mode. Test content can never be recorded or photographed for any purpose and staff should not be engaged in other work during the test administration. There are several tasks to be done before the MSTEP test administration that occur in the OEAA Secure site and, for online testing, in the DRC Insight portal. Here I will review these tasks. The OEAA Secure site is the assessment system used for many administration tasks, including pre-identifying students for testing, material ordering, reporting any testing irregularities that occur through the incident reporting tool, and after testing you can access the downloadable student data files and reports through the Secure site. The off-site testing page and accountable students and test verification are also here. Access to the DRC Insight portal is assigned based on your role in the OEAA Secure site. For access to the OEAA Secure site, you can go to www.michigan.gov/secure-site training and select, How do I get access to Secure site? The OEAA Secure site presentation of this MME and high school test administration training provides detailed information about how to perform the test administration tasks done in the Secure site. The DRC Insight portal is DRC's test management software. Assessment coordinators will set up test sessions in the DRC Insight portal. Student supports and accommodations need to be set up in the DRC Insight portal. Test tickets and rosters are printed through the DRC Insight portal. Test administrators can monitor testing during test sessions if it is set up, and assessment coordinators can monitor test completion in the DRC Insight portal. There is a user guide available in the DRC Insight portal that details the process for each of these tasks. It can be found in the DRC Insight portal. Select the Here link in the Documents and Training bullet point, then select Documents, then Show Documents. All student tutorials, mini-modules, and the test administration manual can be accessed on the DRC Insight portal. Training materials and documents are available without secure access. Users can access documentation without having a login credential. Technology coordinators, district assessment coordinators, and building assessment coordinators all require secure access to the DRC Insight portal. Test administrators do not need access to the DRC Insight portal unless they are using the test monitoring application. If any test administrator is using the test monitoring application, they need to be assigned to the Public School Online Test Administrator or Non-Public School Online Test Administrator role in the OEAA Secure site. Access to the DRC Insight portal is assigned in the Secure site. The district administrator needs to assign the role in the Secure site, and then the user information is pulled from the Secure site into the DRC Insight portal. The new user then receives an email from the DRC Insight portal with their username and password information. The Secure Site Training webpage provides training documents at www.michigan.gov/secure-site training. you can view the How do I get access to the DRC Insight Portal document for help with gaining access to the DRC Insight Portal. You can use the Create a New User or Disabling and Changing User Access documents if you are a district coordinator who needs to assign user access in the DRC Insight Portal. Users can create and edit test sessions in the DRC Insight Portal starting on February 20, 2026. When you are in the DRC Insight Portal main page, select Manage Test Sessions, which will bring up a window to select. Once you select Manage Test Sessions, you will be prompted to select the test administration and your entity information. At the bottom of the page, select the Add Session button to view this screen. This is also the screen to assign test monitoring to the test session. Choose None, Optional, or Required in the Test Monitoring field. This field is highlighted on the image with a red box. Then choose True or False in the Restricted Access field. Restricted access can only be selected if test monitoring is set to Required. Use this setting if you want to require all students to enter the code to test. Only students who correctly enter the code will appear on the test administrator's test monitoring application screen. Detailed information about the test monitoring application is available in the DRC Insight Portal User Guide, the M-Step Test Administration Manual, and in the Test Monitoring Application mini-module that is available in the DRC Insight Portal. Mini-modules do not require secure credentials to access. Test tickets are printed from the test session screen in the DRC Insight Portal. Log into the DRC Insight Portal, select My Applications, then Test Management and then go to Manage Test Sessions. Complete the test, entity information, content and grade information and select Show Sessions. This will open to show test sessions. From here, you can select a test session and print all tickets. You can also print tickets individually by selecting the test session, then choosing the Edit/Print Ticket status icon that is displayed to the right of the test session. Once you have opened the Edit/Print Ticket status page, you can select the individual student or students whose test tickets you are printing, and then select Print Selected. Online District and Building Assessment Coordinator trainings on the administrative functions in the DRC Insight Portal will be held on February 17, 2026 at 10 o'clock with DRC. This training will also be posted in the DRC Insight Portal after the initial presentation. To view them, while in the DRC Insight Portal, you will go to My Applications, then select General Information. From this view, select the Documents tab. These trainings will be included in this list. Information about accessing/registering for the training will be in Spotlight closer to the event date. Next, we will review the M-Step testing schedules. There is one 6-week window for online testing. Testing begins April 6 through May 15. Online testing is the same for all grades and content areas. Paper/pencil testing is one 4-week window, from April 6 through May 1. Students can take the paper/pencil test during any school day within that window. All of these schedules are also available in the Guide to State Assessments document, which is available on the M-Step webpage at www.michigan.gov/mstep. These are the testing time estimates for 8th grade. For M-Step, the times estimates for each test do not include time for reading directions, answering questions, or other classroom tasks. The PSAT 8/9 is a timed test, while M-Step is not a timed test. The M-Step Science test is estimated to take 90 minutes to complete. The M-Step Social Studies is estimated at 60 minutes. The PSAT August 9 time estimate includes scheduled breaks and will take 2 hours and 35 minutes total. These are the testing time estimates for 11th grade. Again, for M-Step, the times estimates for each test do not include time for reading directions, answering questions, or other classroom tasks. M-Step is not a timed test. The times provided are estimates to be used for scheduling purposes. The operational 11th grade M-Step Science test is estimated to take 90 minutes. The M-Step Social Studies is estimated to require 1 hour. Next, I will discuss how to prepare students and staff for testing. When preparing students, it is important to use the M-Step student tutorials. During testing, students need to be aware of the tools that are available to them in the testing engine. The Tutorials and Online Tools Training, or OTT, provides students with this important information and practice, so that when they are taking the M-Step, they are thinking about the content, and not the testing engine tools. To access these tutorials, go to the DRC Insight Portal webpage, www.drcedirect.com. You do not need a username or password to view the tutorials. Select the link in the second bullet point, Documents and Training Materials on the sign-in page, then select the Test Tutorials tab and you can see all the tutorials in one location. It is suggested that teachers review these tutorials in the classroom with all students, and then provides students with the opportunity to practice using the OTTS. OTTS can only be accessed in a Chrome browser. The link to OTTS is available on the MSTEP web page under the Content-Specific Information section. All students must have headphones for listening to the test directions, to listen to ELA listening items, and any student with text-to-speech assigned also needs headphones during the test. Requirements for which headphones are allowed have been clarified for assessment coordinators and test administrators to better determine whether students' existing headphones are allowed. First, wired or wireless headphones are always allowed. Bluetooth headphones are allowed, as long as two requirements are met. First, they must only be connected to the student's testing device, and the second requirement for Bluetooth headphones is that all the student's electronic devices, like cell phones, smartwatches, tablets, or anything else with Bluetooth connection capabilities, must be powered off throughout the test. Finally, all headphones with advanced technology, like voice commands, texting, app connections, or that can connect to the internet are not allowed during testing. The Assessment Integrity Guide provides detailed information regarding how to identify testing personnel. Test administrators can be selected from this list. Licensed teachers or administrators employed by the district. Paraprofessionals or non-licensed administrative personnel employed by the school or district, who are trained in the test administration policies and procedures for the test being administered, can administer the test. Any substitute teachers who are employed by the district for the purpose of administering the test, and who have been trained in the test administration policies and procedures for the test being administered, can administer the test. Trained proctors may also be assigned to assist a test administrator. Test proctors are most typically a teacher's aide, paraprofessional, or another school or district staff member. A proctor must be supervised directly by a test administrator, must be trained with appropriate testing procedures, and may not independently administer any test. It is important that all staff involved in administering the test are trained in their responsibilities of providing an appropriate testing environment. This includes ensuring the testing room is quiet and orderly, and that seating is arranged in such a way that discourages any sharing of responses. Test administrators must ensure that any content-related poster or display is removed or covered. Posters of encouragement or classroom rules, such as those that say, "Do your best," are permitted. The Insight Tools poster is approved to be displayed during the test administration. The poster is available on the MSTEP webpage at www.michigan.gov/MSTEP under the Current Assessment Administration section. Look for the link titled MDE Approved Insight Tools Poster. The link opens a page that details the guidelines for use of the poster, and the posters are available in 8.5 by 11, 11 by 17 and 16 by 24 sizes for printing and posting. This is the only Insight Tools poster that is allowed to be posted during testing, and the posters must not be within reach of students during testing. It must be displayed in the classroom and cannot be placed at student desks or computers. All word lists, maps, math formulas or tables, or any other content must be covered or removed. Test-taking tips or other materials that might provide students an advantage over others who do not have access to material are also prohibited and must be covered or removed. Buildings and districts must retain test schedules as described in the Assessment Integrity Guide. It is possible that a testing schedule may be requested by MDE staff if relevant when working to resolve an incident report. Test schedules must include the district and building name, the building assessment coordinator's name, date of the assessment administration, the location of the testing session, starting and ending time of the test session, the test that was administered, and the names of the test administrators and proctors for the test session. The Assessment Integrity Guide provides a sample testing schedule on page 16. The sample includes all required components of the testing schedule. The Assessment Security Training Series is required for assessment coordinators. Test administrators must either complete the Assessment Security Training modules and/or read the Assessment Security Appendix. For coordinators or administrators who have already completed the full Assessment Security Module course, a refresher course is available in place of the full training series. This training is available MSTEP webpage at www.michigan.gov/MSTEP under the Assessment Training and Resources for Educators section. In this section, we will discuss how to get started with administration, for both the online administration and paper/pencil administration. I'll also cover the tasks that need to be done during the test administration, common problems and what to do, and after testing tasks. The Supports and Accommodations Guidance document and Supports and Accommodations table should be reviewed and referenced throughout the test administration. It includes important information about allowable universal tools, designated supports, and accommodations. The Supports and Accommodations table in the guidance document provides information about the universal tools, designated supports, and accommodations that are available by content and grade. Be sure to view the Student Supports and Accommodations presentation of this MME and high school test administration training for more information about what is available for students during testing. Here I will discuss the tasks to get started for the online administration. Test sessions can be set up in the DRC Insight portal beginning on February 20, 2026. It is important that the pre-identification through the secure site is accurate, so that all students who are expected to test are assigned to the appropriate testing sessions. It is also important to be sure students are put into all test sessions that are required for their grade. The DRC Insight portal has functionality that will help with tracking progress toward completion of testing, but the system is based on the students who are in the test session. It does not identify a student who is not assigned to the test session but was expected to test according to accountability calculations. During the pre-ID process, it is important that any students who are testing using MyAccess are pre-identified to MyAccess and removed from the M-STEP assessment. This will prevent students who take MyAccess from being pulled into the DRC Insight portal and being assigned a test ticket, which may result in a student taking both the MyAccess and M-STEP assessments. Double testing students is a test misadministration. Next, the appropriate designated supports and accommodations must be assigned in the DRC Insight portal before test tickets are generated. Any embedded accommodation, that is, an accommodation that is administered within the testing engine, must be assigned in the DRC Insight portal before the test ticket is generated. If it is assigned after test tickets are generated, the accommodation will not be available on the test. For detailed directions on assigning designated supports and accommodations in the DRC Insight portal, go to the DRC Insight portal user guide that is available on the DRC Insight portal website. Select the link in the second bullet point, Documents and Training Materials, and then select Show Documents to search documents. Once all students have been assigned to all the appropriate test sessions, and designated supports and accommodations have been assigned, test tickets need to be printed, sorted according to your testing schedule, and distributed on test day to test administrators. Remember that test tickets and accompanying rosters are secure materials and must be handled securely. Once test administrators begin testing, test administration progress should be monitored and any issues that come up addressed. If there is a testing irregularity that requires submission to the MDE for resolution, authorized users can submit incident reports through the secure site. Incident reports are expected to be submitted within 2 school days of notification of a testing irregularity. I will discuss this process more when we get to the common problems and what to do section of this presentation. The Online Test Administrator's Directions and Manual document is now one document for all grades. However, the paper-pencil test administrator's directions and manuals are still grade-specific. It's important for test administrators to read the test directions before administering the test. Test administrators' directions and manuals for both the paper/pencil and online administrations are sent to schools and will be made available on the MSTEP webpage at www.michigan.gov/MSTEP. Test tickets, and the accompanying rosters, are a secure material, so it is important these are collected to be securely destroyed or to be stored with secure test materials if the student has not completed the test and will resume testing in another test session. As a reminder, students may only have one test ticket at a time. Giving a student more than one test ticket is a security risk and does not allow for necessary breaks between tests to ensure students perform their best. Most designated supports and accommodations are printed on the test tickets. However, there may be other accommodations, such as extended time, that are not listed on the test ticket. Be sure test administrators are made aware of all accommodations for all students in their testing session. The use of TTS for directions is required for all tests. Importantly, there are still a few items and screens that must be completed before TTS for directions begins, which will be discussed on the next slide. Test administrators are required to read the test administrator's directions and manual document before administering a test. There are several steps and screens that must be completed before TTS for directions can begin. The directions for these steps are provided in the test administrator's directions and manual document. First, test administrators must pass out student test tickets and provide direction regarding how to log into the test. Next, the welcome screen shows the student's name, date of birth, and other identifying information to verify the student has logged into the correct test and has the correct information. If you are using the test monitoring application, students also input the test monitoring code on this page to register for the test session. After the welcome screen comes the test selection screen, where students select the correct test they are taking. This screen ensures the student has logged into the correct content area test. Finally, the audio check screen is completed together to verify students will hear audio during the test. Directions are provided for each of these steps in the test administrator's directions and manual. These directions must be followed before students are able to begin TTS for directions. For the paper/pencil administration, test sessions can be scheduled on any school day within the 4-week test window. It is still expected that test sessions start as early in the day as possible so students can complete a test on the same day they start taking it. Assessment coordinators must ensure that barcode labels are affixed to the student answer documents. Barcode labels are required to ensure the student's responses and hard work are associated with the correct student. Also, all secure testing materials must be maintained in a secure, locked location. Secure materials include test booklets, all used answer documents, any used scratch paper, and any reader scripts, translated versions of the test, or other accommodated form of the test. Again, testing irregularities should be monitored and addressed appropriately. If needed, authorized users submit incident reports through the secure site for MDE resolution or documentation. I will discuss this further in the common problems portion of this presentation. As with the online test directions, paper/pencil test directions are grade and content area specific. And again, it is important that test administrators read the test directions before administering the test. This is true even when a test administrator has administered the same M-STEP assessment in a previous year. It is important to refresh one's memory about the assessment before administering it. Answer documents must have the barcode label affixed in the space provided before administering the test. If additional barcode labels are needed for any reason, for example, a student has enrolled after the pre-ID for barcode labels deadline on February 13, 2026, they can be printed from the secure site. Go to Assessment Registration, select Barcode Labels, and complete the search criteria. Accommodations and designated supports, if provided, must also be completed on the answer document by a test administrator or building coordinator. And test booklets should be securely stored and given to test administrators at the start of a testing session. Any scratch paper used during testing must be collected for shredding. Used scratch paper and used graph paper are secure materials. Student names need to be written on scratch paper used, so that if a break is taken it can be returned to the correct student. Scratch paper must be blank, it can be either lined or unlined. Be sure that all test administrators are aware of the full M-STEP scratch paper policy before testing. The scratch paper policy is available on the M-STEP webpage at www.michigan.gov/MSTEP. In this section, we will discuss the tasks that need to be done during test administration for both online and paper/pencil administrations. For both the online and paper/pencil administration, test administrators must actively monitor the assessment. This includes moving through the room to view testers and maintain a view of all students throughout the test session. Test administrators' full attention must always remain on testing, any distraction must be avoided, including any side conversations, reading, eating, or completing other work during the test. For safety and security, if video surveillance cameras are already in place in a testing room and are used to maintain security, they are allowed to be used during the test session. Cameras should be directed away from test items, and any recording of a test session must be deleted as soon as possible after the test session. Test administrators are responsible for ensuring students who are testing online do not access any other application during the test session. This includes after the student has submitted their test, no other application can be accessed on the testing device during a test session. If students need to move away from their work area during testing, if testing online, the test must be paused. If testing paper/pencil, the test booklet and answer document must be collected by the test administrator. It is very important that students are always supervised by a trained test administrator during testing. Any student accessing a test either online or paper/pencil is a misadministration of the test. Finally, the testing room should be set up to minimize distractions and the potential for cheating. Users can monitor test completion in the DRC Insight portal on the student status screen by grade and by content. This screen shows overall rates of tests that are not started, in progress, or completed. Users can monitor progress toward completion throughout the test administration using this screen. As a reminder, the screen shows progress toward completion of students who are assigned to test sessions. It does not identify students who are expected to test by the MDE but were not assigned to the test session. Assessment coordinators must make sure that all students who are expected to test are pre-ID'd in the secure site and assigned to all the appropriate test sessions either through the secure site or in the DRC Insight portal. The test monitoring application allows the user to view student progress through the test during test administration. This application must be set up in the DRC Insight portal when test sessions are set up. If you plan to use the test monitoring application, any test administrator who will access it during testing must have secure access to the DRC Insight portal. The secure site roles of public school online test administrator and non-public school online test administrator will provide access only to the test monitoring application. Detailed information is available in the DRC Insight portal user guide, the M-Step Test Administration Manual, and in the Using Test Monitoring in the DRC Insight portal mini-module. Materials need to be collected after the test administrations for both online and paper/pencil administrations. Be sure that signed security compliance forms are collected from all staff involved in test administration. Also, final copies of testing schedules must be completed and collected. These should be kept for 3 years after the test administration. For paper/pencil administrations, all test booklets and answer documents must be collected. Any used answer document must have the correct barcode label affixed, and any accommodations used need to be filled in on the answer document. Remember, barcode labels are unique according to content area. Each answer document must have a unique barcode label. Also, be sure the student information is completed and matches the information on the barcode label, in the event the barcode label becomes damaged or falls of the document. The test administration manual includes detailed instructions for materials return. Next, I will discuss what to do when any problems arise during test administration. It's important to note that problems sometimes occur during testing that are outside of the control of the school or district. Having the issue is not necessarily the concern. It is important that the issue is addressed appropriately and reported appropriately using the established policies and procedures. All the information I will cover here, and more, is included in the Test Administration Manual, TAM. When you encounter any of these issues, or any other issues, during testing, it's important that you refer to your TAM to know how to address it appropriately. Any time that a testing irregularity occurs, an incident report should be filed with the Office of Educational Assessment and Accountability within 2 school days. Detailed information regarding how to address an irregularity, including many possible scenarios, and the most frequent irregularities that occur, is provided in the M-Step Test Administration Manual. The secure site also has detailed step-by-step instructions for submitting an incident report at www.michigan.gov/securesitetraining. Some examples of testing irregularities can be if a student becomes ill and goes home before completing a test, or if a building emergency occurs during the test session. Also, if a student is not provided assigned accommodations or is provided accommodations that are not assigned, or a student engaged in a prohibited behavior occurred during the test administration. These irregularities are a few examples of reasons that an incident report should be submitted. Incident reports are submitted through the secure site. Users select the Student Assessments tab at the top of the page, and then Incident Reports in the drop-down menu. Once you have selected the test cycle and entity information, select the grade, content area, and testing mode. Based on these selections, the incident category drop-down will update. Then select the incident subcategory. Directions about what category and subcategory should be used, based on your situation, can be found in the Incident Reporting table in the M-Step Test Administration Manual. This table is organized based on the incident categories listed in the drop-down menu of the secure site. Perhaps the most common problem that happens in online administration is a student submitting a test before completing it. When this happens, if not all questions have been answered and the test hasn't already been unlocked, contact the call center at 1-877-560-8378. If all items have been answered or if the test has already been unlocked, then an incident report is required. Another common problem is if a student becomes ill or is removed from the test session before completing the test. For an online administration, collect the student's test ticket and instruct the student to pause and exit the test. The test may be resumed in a later test session, using the original test ticket. For paper/pencil administration, the test administrator should collect the test materials and flag the last question answered. The test can then be resumed during a makeup session, and an incident report may be submitted by the district assessment coordinator. Students testing on Chromebook who have the wrong keyboard setting, US International Keyboard, will not be able to use the quotation marks or apostrophes while in text boxes. To resolve this issue before testing begins, choose Settings on the Chromebook, then choose Keyboard Settings, and be sure US Keyboard is selected. If this happens during testing, have the student click outside of the text box, then press Ctrl-Shift-Spacebar, which will bring up the option to select the US Keyboard setting. In online administration, there may be an issue with insight disconnections or other technical errors. This can be due to a local connectivity issue, or a network issue, or it may be an issue that needs to be resolved with DRC. So, the first step in any situation of a technical issue while testing online is to contact your local technology coordinator. If the technology coordinator cannot resolve the problem, then they should contact DRC customer support and, if necessary, the district assessment coordinator should submit an incident report if the problem cannot be solved by the technology coordinator or DRC's customer support. Be sure that students are not directed to continue testing while experiencing any technology difficulties during testing. MDE does not unlock or regenerate tests due to unaddressed technology issues after a test has been completed. I've just gone through a few of the most common scenarios that can come up during testing. Make sure to review your test administration manual if you encounter these, or any other issues during testing. This section discusses Chapter 3 of the M-Step Grades 8 and 11 Test Administration Training, after the M-Step Test Administration. First, I will discuss the appropriate handling of secure and non-secure materials after testing. Next, I will cover the packaging and return of materials for schools with paper/pencil materials. I will end by discussing preliminary reports availability and final reports. Some secure materials must be destroyed after testing. There are secure materials that need to be securely destroyed for both online and paper/pencil testing. In online testing, examples of secure materials include test tickets and rosters, and all scratch paper and graph paper used. These materials must be securely destroyed after the test administration. For paper/pencil testing, examples of secure materials include all used scratch paper must be securely destroyed. Be sure to review the instructions for materials return section of the M-Step Test Administration Manual, TAM. This is especially important for this year because there have been several updates to materials return policies and requirements for spring 2026. The instructions for materials return are included in the M-Step Test Administration Manual and lists which secure materials should be returned to the M-Step contractor, what schools should keep and what schools must destroy. Secure materials that need to be returned to the M-Step contractor include all used answer documents, all test booklets, used answer documents, any accommodated versions of the test. The preliminary reports are available within 48 hours of the student submitting the test and will remain available until final reports are released. Homeschool students will be included in the spring 2026 preliminary reports, so they have access to their preliminary results before final reports are available in August. They are accessed through the secure site, by selecting the Reports drop-down, and then selecting Dynamic Score Reports. The preliminary reports include only machine-scored items, they do not include any hand-scored items. And it is also important to remember that preliminary data is for school use only and may not be shared with the public. Schools must treat this as embargoed data. These are some helpful links for you throughout the M-Step Test Administration. Best Practices MSDS Reporting Guide for Trouble-Free Accountability Data, the Assessment Coordinator Training Guide web page, which includes the link to the bookmarks for Michigan State assessments, the new Assessment Coordinator Training Guide, the M-Step web page link, and Secure Site Training. Thank you for joining me for this presentation. If you have any questions, call the number on this slide or send an email to mde-oeaa@michigan.gov.